As we continue assembly line WCX 17, let's face it, autonomous vehicles are all over the place and certainly were of great discussion among the SAE folks. And all of us are wondering about autonomous vehicles. And with that come a lot of questions regarding some various legal aspects. Well, a lot of questions. So why not go to an expert? Our expert is Matt Bauer, a corporate attorney at Varnum Law, where he focuses on startup companies and intellectual property. Matt, nice to have you on the program.
Thank you, Paul W. Good to be here.
The current state of the law, where does this go? And, you know, there's a lot of question about what this is going to do with the law and who's going to be held accountable when there are accidents anymore, when it's an autonomous vehicle. And certainly there are going to be some major changes that will affect all of us and maybe keep attorneys like yourself very busy.
Well, I hope so. But, yeah, absolutely, you're right. There's going to be a big shift here. You know, as it stands right now, last year, there were over 2 million car crashes, and as you imagine, 90% of those are due to driver error. So our system right now, of course, is that, you know, we look to the operators of those cars, the owners of those cars. If they were at fault, then they're going to pay. And, of course, in Michigan, we're one of 12 states that have no fault insurance, where everyone gets insured, and if you and I get into a little fender bender on Wilbert Avenue, you know, we're going to look to our insurance companies to take care of that. But, of course, with autonomous vehicles, you know, if both of us are in autonomous vehicles and we get into that crash, that liability is going to shift to the manufacturer at this point. And that's the thing that I think a lot of state legislatures and policymakers are trying to deal with right now is, you know, is that necessarily a good thing, of course? Because if we shift all the liability to the OEMs, they're, of course, going to price that liability into these products, and we don't want to price these products out of the market right away. You know, this is going to be some very beneficial technology. We want to see that it's getting out onto the road, and so I think what policymakers are struggling with right now is how do we spread that liability around?
Well, interestingly enough, as we speak with Matt Bauer, corporate attorney at Varnum Law, I'll defer to Warren Buffett, who has already made the prediction that this kind of the unintended consequences of autonomous vehicles, this disruptive technology, will be, if they reach their goal, far fewer accidents and thankfully injuries and fatalities. He believes this could have a real detrimental effect on the insurance industry.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that's very true. That obviously is...
It's the good news, bad news, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good news, but it is bad news as well because, of course, you know, these accidents, they're going to decrease greatly. It could be that, you know, insurance, no one's going to have automobile insurance anymore. We may just be, you know, it may just be covered by your homeowners or, you know, like if you got into a bicycle accident.
That I hadn't thought of at all. You know what? I'm going to ask you because you've thought about all these things, the outcomes of the shift that's underway, the vehicle costs, the insurance, fighting to make sure we don't price people out of the market, shifting liability to manufacturers, all of that. I got to throw this out because nobody has an answer for me yet. What about motorcycles in this autonomous world we're going into?
You know, any vehicle can become an autonomous vehicle, you know, if the technology gets good enough. You know, it could be the case. I mean, the thing with a motorcycle is obviously the driving experience.
Right.
So, you know, why would you necessarily have an autonomous motorcycle? It doesn't seem to make too much sense. I don't think you're going to be, you know, looking at your Facebook page while your motorcycle is going down the highway.
Haven't seen it yet.
Not yet, no. But, you know, it brings up an interesting point because as autonomous vehicle technology becomes more prevalent and as it gets better and better, you know, we could get to the state where driving your own car or driving your own motorcycle could be negligence per se. That, you know, we expect you as a society to turn on your autonomous technology.
Oh, people fight me on this one, but I don't doubt that for a second.
Right.
You know, and I'll use the horse example that was actually used on me by a very highly regarded and respected OEM person who I'd never asked if I could quote them, so I won't. But they said it's kind of like you used to love riding your horse to work in the old days, and when that car came along, they didn't want the horses and the cars on the road after a period of time, and now if you want to ride your horse, you go to a stables, and that's where you ride your horse. I think that's going to happen with cars. I love driving a car. I'm going to have to do it over here like at this concourse thing in Pontiac and some other places, but there will be a time when the technology is really, really good and preventing accidents and preventing injuries and fatalities. Why in the world would they let us out there to go back to the good old days of driver error, human error?
Yeah, and to go back to your analogy, it could be a situation where if you want to ride your horse, if you want to now drive your own car, we've got special places for you to do that.
Right.
It's off the road. It's we're going to corral you.
Yeah, we are going to be corralled by all of this. I'm not looking forward to it. I still don't know if it's 5 weeks, if you listen to that crazy guy, or 5 years or 25 years away. Where do you think all of this is, Matt Bauer?
It is going to come on to us much faster than we think. I mean, there are already autonomous vehicles on the road now. I think Google, their self-driving car program, which they call Waymo, they've logged over, I think, 2 million miles in California. And there's areas of Arizona right now where Uber is test driving autonomous vehicles. I mean, they're out on the roads now, and we will begin to see them more and more. Right now, there are drivers in those cars, and they can disengage the autonomous technology if they need to. But those disengagement rates are going down all the time. The technology is getting better and better, and the cars are getting better and better.
We could also head over to Dubai and take a flying taxi before you know it.
Yeah, any day now.
All right. Always a pleasure. Anything else we need to know, Matt?
One other really interesting area of liability for these cars, of course, the big one that a lot of people are thinking about and talking about is hacking. Now, hacking of technology is nothing new. We've seen this in other technology platforms for years, and technology companies have had to deal with this problem. But, in the past, it's been your email or your Facebook account. Now we're talking about, autonomous vehicles on the road, and, of course, the stakes are much, much higher. And so that's another area that we're really going to have to look carefully at.
And it also could be used in driving business. If you're trying to go to McDonald's, but Burger King has been able to hack into your car, you can't turn into McDonald's. And wait a minute, why are we going to Burger King? I told you to take me to McDonald's. Just another thought there for liability down the road.
Absolutely.
It might be just because I'm hungry right now, Matt. I'm not exactly sure why that example came to mind. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Paul W.
Matt Bauer, corporate attorney extraordinaire at Varnum Law. He, among other things, focuses on startup companies and intellectual property. And hot on the heels of WCX 17, we wanted to get that aspect of the whole autonomous vehicle story. That's going to do it for Assembly Line WCX 17, the World Congress Experience 17. Thanks to you for being tuned in and to all of our special guests.